So does height really matter for a goalkeeper? Short answer, definitely. So let's look at the obvious reasons starting off. I mean, as a goalkeeper who's taller, we're going to look primarily at the aerial game. As this day and age, a lot of people take into account a lot of set pieces. You look at Arsenal, how strong and how dangerous they are with set pieces. You need a goalkeeper who can, get in between those bodies and get up high, who's strong, who's tall, who can reach farther than any other center backs or attackers on the other team. The game is becoming very physically dominating. There's a lot of teams like Newcastle who are just ginormous. And if you have a short keeper against teams like that, then you don't have that extra body in there who can get height. You're going to have to rely on your center backs or other tall players. But that's just not enough. You need a tall keeper to just dominate the box, set a presence there to discourage teams from continuing on the aerial game, which is so dangerous and unpredictable. Speaking of presence, during shot stopping, especially 1v1s, when you have a bigger presence in goal, you get more saves. I mean, if we're just looking at a physical factor during 1v1s, you're just bigger. When you spread out, you have a farther reach, you take up more of the goal, you make it harder for the strikers, especially when you narrow down the angle well. From farther shots, you can reach into the corners better than the other keepers. Looking at the psychological effect also, when a striker comes at you, you're out there, you're big. It's going to make it a lot harder for him to pick out a spot. I mean, even during shot stopping from longer range, it's going to force them, especially against a keeper like Courtois, it's going to force them to put him more into the corners, which means a higher chance of missing. They're going to have to put more power and farther into the corners, which even at a pro level is super hard to do during a game. Are there exceptions? Of course. I mean, you look back in the day, you have Iker Casillas, Keylor Navas. Now we have David Rea, Yann Sommer. But the thing is, they're still pretty tall. They're around 5'11", 6 foot. I mean, as a goalkeeper, that's not tall. But compared to a normal footballer, that's pretty tall. But still, you can see what they lack during their games. You look at David Rea. He's an amazing shot stopper, but look at him in the aerial game. He just cannot perform there. He's relying on his center backs, and that's going to cause a big problem. And yeah, he is a great shot stopper, but is he better than Courtois? I don't think so. And look how tall Courtois is, He can get to different places that David Raya can't. I mean, David Raya, you don't know him for his 1v1s. No one really knows him for that. Same thing with Casillas. I mean, he had that amazing save in I think it was the final. But still, when you look at dominant keepers, especially now in 1v1s, you look at Emi Martinez, you look at Courtois, Manuel Neuer, all these guys, super tall, super physical, super strong. Does this mean you can't be a goalkeeper if you're short? No. I know there's a lot of professional goalkeepers who are on the shorter end. But if I'm talking about the top 10 leagues in the world at the highest level of professional football, it's going to be a big issue. It's just, not only is it ability-wise, but when you're trying to get scouted or your teams are trying to look at you or they see your resume and they see your height, and if it's short, they're just going to look the other way. It's unfair, but that's how it is. Teams want what they want. I know recently a kid from Ajax, a young goalkeeper, no more than 15 years old, he got released because of his height. But that's the game of football. It's a business, They're not going to pick you based on feelings. They're going to pick you based on how much money you can make for them. I say if it's really your dream to be a goalkeeper, I mean, it can be done, It's not impossible. But if we're just looking at the base standards, it's how it is. I mean, a goalkeeper is just defined by his physical standards. It's just the game. It's the position. I mean, people can get butthurt, but look at basketball, There are exceptions like Isaiah Thomas, who was pretty short. But overall, it's a physical game. You have to be taller. Some positions are just meant to be tall. You look at a center like Wemby, Shaquille O'Neal, Giannis. Look at their dominance because of their height. If they were shorter, they would never be able to play that position. That's just how the game is. If you guys got any more questions, discussions, or debates you guys want me to talk about. You guys can leave it in the comments below, or you guys can check out my Instagram, message me on there. I'm gonna put it right here, and I'll put a link down in the description. Thank you guys for watching.